Now to start learning Unity, you can open the YouTube videos or the videos that has been provided to you in one window. If you come to the taskbar below, you have Unity here, and if I click on the browser here, this is going to open YouTube video or the video playing through your video player. Also, you can use Alt plus Tab on your keyboard to switch between the Unity window, again Alt plus Tab, and switch back to the video. So you can watch the video, whatever is shown in the video, you can pause it here, move it into Unity and start working here. If you have a 2-monitor system, you can keep the video in one monitor, and in another monitor you can keep working on the Unity project. Now in this first series of tutorials, you will master the essentials of navigating in your Unity editor, because Unity is such a powerful program that can do so many things. The interface can be overwhelming at first. So we will start from the very beginning, making sure that you are comfortable moving around the interface. In an outdoor playground scene, you will learn how to confidently navigate 3D space. You will use fly-through mode to soar through scene view, then frame and orbit around key objects in the environment. You will also master the move and rotate tools, allowing you to precisely position and orient objects to design your own unique creations. You will even learn some pro tips of working effectively in Unity, like using keyboard shortcut to switch between tools, toggling between coordinate system, and using isometric view for more efficient workflows. Learning to navigate 3D space confidently in Unity is like learning to swim before diving into the deep end. It's critical. It equips you with the skill you need to stay afloat and have fun once you jump in and start creating. So let's get started by building the essential skills that will empower you to create with Unity. So before we dive into Unity, to see that the screen that you are seeing and the screen shown here are the same, see that you come into this layout over here on the right end and choose default. So if it is in the default layout, you will have this 1, 2, 3, 4 segments, and in the bottom segment we call it as the project. And in the project, there is a folder called asset. This project window and assets, this is like a warehouse where all the actors, objects needed for your project will be placed here. This is like storeroom. Every time you want to build a game or a sequence, we are going to start with a scene. By default, you can see that the project opens with a sample scene, and right now this sample scene is empty, and if I open this, you have this 3 objects: main camera, direction light, and global volume. Actually, for you to understand and work with Unity, we have provided you some pre-built scenes, and to assess this, you can come into the assets folder, and when you imported the Unity package, it created a folder called unity_profile_contents. If you double click this, this will open it like an explorer, and here you have a folder called scenes, and if I double click the scene, you have some 8 scenes present over here. You can adjust the size of these icons over here on the slider on the right hand end here. So if I drag it to the left and complete left, this will appear as a list view, and if I drag it to the right, it appears as a big icon. So if you have too many scenes, you can drag it to the left and convert this list view. Then I am going to select this -1_starter scene, and if you double click on this, now this scene is going to open. Now in this scene, we have already pre-built some of the objects, and all the objects used in this scene, you can see it in the hierarchy window. So you have this -1_starter scene, then you have ground, direction light, then boxes. Next to boxes, you have an arrow which indicates inside these boxes you have 3 items: box small, box medium, box large. Then you have a tunnel, stairs, landing, star, and finally the player. And if I open this, inside the player there is robot, Here you can see the robot, main camera and player follow camera. All these three are grouped inside the player. If I select any of these objects, say for example I select the ground, and if I double click on this, you can see that this entire area is filled with our scene. Now say for example I want to see my character. My character is robot. If I select the robot and if I double click it, you can immediately see that the camera is zoomed to my robot character. And also say for example now I want to see the stairs, means I can select the stairs and either I can double click it, or if you press F on your keyboard, whichever object is selected, the camera or the view of your scene switches over there. Similarly, if I select this box large and press F, you will switch to that view. So this is how we can navigate between different objects. And the other way of navigation is, if you come into the scene and if you left click, you are going to select the object. On whatever object you are going to click, that object gets selected by left clicking in the scene view or by clicking in the hierarchy window. However, if I right click and move the mouse, you can see an eye icon appearing, and now I can turn around the scene. If I move the mouse from right to left, you are panning from right to left like this, and if I move the mouse from left to right, you can see that I am panning from left to right. If I move the mouse up, I can tilt up. If I move the mouse down, I can tilt down. So this is how I can quickly navigate through the scene. So right click allows us to turn around our position and see the object in all the directions. Now apart from right clicking, if you bring the mouse inside the scene view, if you press the up arrow on the keyboard, you are going to move forward. If I press the down arrow, I am going to move backward. If I press the left arrow, I am going to move leftwise. If I press the right arrow, I am going to move rightwise. Now, if you suddenly want to see my robot character, I can right click, turn around like this, and then I can with right mouse pressed, if I press W on the keyboard, say I will zoom in to the character, or otherwise the shortest way is just double click on the robot and the robot will appear in the scene. In your scene view on the left hand side, you see this icon. Say I come here and double click on stairs. The first tool is the hand symbol, that is the view or pan tool, and the keyboard shortcut for this view tool is Q. So if I press Q, a pan tool. So if I now left click and move, you can pan around the scene by using this. If I press W, you are going to select the next key, which is the move tool. And using the move tool, I can move the object. You have this blue arrow here. I can click on this, drag it and move it like this. And if I want to cancel this movement, I can go to edit and choose undo move or press Ctrl Z. Then you have the rotate tool. The keyboard shortcut for this is E. If I press E, you see the rotate tool and I can rotate the stairs like this. I will rotate, and again to cancel, press Ctrl Z. If I press R on my keyboard, it will enable the fourth tool here, which is the scale tool. And using this, I can click at the center gray cube here and just drag it to increase the size of my stairs like this. I can come into edit and I am going to undo this. Then if I press the T key, it is going to select the rectangular modification tool. You have a rectangle here, and by dragging this, I can adjust the size of my object here like this. I can go to edit and choose undo, and finally if I press Y, you have the transform tool where move, rotate and scale, all gizmos are enabled here. And one last keyboard shortcut that I want to show you is, if you press your middle mouse button and if you move it, see this gets converted into hand tool. Remember, right mouse makes you turn around and middle mouse click is going to make it pan. The next thing that we are going to explore is the game view. In the scene view, we are going to assemble our scene, our game objects, animation, everything we are going to work in the scene. But finally, when the user or the game player is going to see our game, he is going to see it in the game view. So to come to the game view, next to the scene, you see a game tab, and if I click on the game tab, now you are in the game view. For this, we have used a camera. If I come back to scene view, and if I come back here and open the player, and if inside this robot, you have one main camera. When you select this main camera, the view that you are seeing from this main camera is what your player is going to see. On the bottom left end of your scene, you see the overlays that you can see on your scene window. And one of the overlay here is the camera view. So if I click on the cameras here, you can see the view here. And if I move the camera, you can see how this position is going to get altered. Right now, I will come to edit and undo this. To test this game, I can click the play button. You can immediately see that my entire screen turned red except for the game area. And now in the game mode, if I press W, the character is moving forward. If I press A, he moves to left. If I press D, he moves to right. If I press S, he comes back. Now I will press A and bring him to the center, press W, and if I press Shift plus W, he is going to run. Shift plus S, he is going to run. And if I press space, he is going to jump. So this is what the basic game that you are seeing. How this has been created, don't worry about it. As we build the game, you are going to understand it. So right now, I want my robot to run and collect this star. So I will press W and I will press Shift to make him run and space to jump. He was not able to collect the star. The player is moving, but my camera is not following him. Press Escape to get the cursor. I will stop the playback. Unity has thousands of components, and all these components by default will not be installed along with Unity. If you want to add some component or add some feature to the Unity, you can add it through the package manager. Say for example, for my camera to follow this robot, I need an component of Unity which we call as Cinemachine. Cinemachine is a tool developed by Unity to provide cinematic camera movements. I can come into Window, come into Package Management, Package Manager, and when you open the Package Manager, right now you are in the In Project tab, and all the packages used in your project can be seen here. Now, to get a new package, I have to come into Unity registry, come here in the search and type Cinemachine and press enter. Now you can see the Cinemachine package version 3.1.5 and you have an install button here. Click on the install button and wait till this component gets installed. So once the installation is done, you will see this remove button. Now I will close my package manager. Now to use this Cinemachine in our project, let us come into the hierarchy, and right now I am going to select this player follow camera that you are seeing here, and I am going to press del and I am going to delete it. I am going to select the main camera. Whenever you select any of the game objects in hierarchy, all the objects present here in Unity, we call it as the game objects. On the right hand side, in the inspector panel, it is attached with various components. The components are the properties that define a game object. For example, if I have selected main camera, in the inspector you can see I have the first component here, transform. I will click on this arrow to collapse it. Then you have the camera component here. I will collapse this. You have audio listener, and then actually this Cinemachine brain is already added in the project or in this file. So to show you how to add it, I am right now going to come on the right hand side here to the three dots, and I am going to remove this Cinemachine component. Then I am going to come into add component, type Cinemachine, and in all the components present over here, select Cinemachine brain. So now this Cinemachine brain component is added to my main camera. I have to add an additional camera to follow my character. I will come into this hierarchy window. I will right click, and when I right click, here you can see a menu to create new game objects in Unity. You have 2D object, 3D object, effect, light, and right now here I will come into Cinemachine and I am going to add a new Cinemachine camera. I am going to call this as player follow camera and press enter. Now as soon as I add this camera, if you come back to main camera, in Cinemachine camera you can immediately see that the live camera is now this player follow camera. And now I want this player follow camera to be a child or a group of this player object. So if I drag this and put it over the player, now you can see that player follow camera became a child of the player object. Now if you select this, as of now you can see that the view is not correctly aligned, and to get the right view I am going to select player follow camera, come into transform, open this up, and initially I will click on these three dots and reset the view. Now once it has been reset, you can now see that the view is entirely different here, and we have to configure this view correctly. And to do this configuration, either I can right click, rotate around and see the view, but before we work on this view, I just want to show you how you can see they were seen from different views using this gizmo on the right side. If this gizmo is not on, in the bottom left overlay tab have this orientation overlay. If you click on this, it will be off. If you click again, this will become on. And if I right click here, I can choose the top view. And in the top view, now I will middle mouse press, pan it and move it up here, and you can see that my camera is facing towards this direction, but I want this to face towards the right side direction. So to achieve this, I will come into the inspector, and in transform rotation along the y axis I will rotate it by 90 degree and press enter. Then immediately in the preview you can see that you are seeing towards the staircase. Now next thing is I want this to be lifted up. So for that I will right click here and come into the front view, and when I come in the front view, you can now see the camera is placed below the ground here. So along the y axis if I drag it, you can see it moves up. I want to move it by approximately around 1.8 units, and also I want it this camera to be on the back of my character. So along the x-axis, I will click here and drag it back. So I will move it back by around minus 1.3 along the x-axis, and y I will make it 1.4. Now for our camera to follow this character, come into the Cinemachine camera settings, and first you have tracking target here. Click on the arrow here, and in this type player and select player camera route. This player camera route is a game object which is attached to the robot. So as the robot moves, this player camera route is also going to move. So we have set this as the tracking target, and then in the procedural components in position control, click on none here and select hard lock to target. My camera is locked to this player camera route, which is connected to this robot. Now as the robot moves, the camera is going to follow it. So now come to File, choose Save, and now if I click the playback button, if I press W, you can see the camera following. If I press Shift W, he will run, but when he jumps, he is not able to catch the star. I will press Escape, then stop the playback. Select the star component in the hierarchy window, double click so that we are focused to the star, right click, pan around, and press S to move back, see it from different angles, and I will press D and move side, press S and move back, and here I want this to be slightly moved down so that the player or my robot can catch it. Right now its height is set to 6.5. I will reduce this height to around say 5, and x value from 7.5 I will set it to something like 5 units. Then go to File, choose Save, again press the play button, and now if I press W, then Shift W, and as he runs, if I now press Shift, see he is able to catch the star. Press Escape to get the cursor. So I will stop the playback, and with this we have concluded this challenge, and in our next session we are going to master the 3D scene navigation.